Hey everybody, Patty in here. Listen, I've had quite a few people kind of scratching their heads saying, I can't follow your tutorials because I can't find some of those icons that you're using. Well, some of the tutorials that I made were from past versions of Cricut Design Space, so I thought I would improve some by updating them. And today I'm going to answer 4 different questions about a print then cut, changing it into a cut file only, and also how do you make it an SVG? So let's get started. Okay, the first thing I want to quickly go over with you is how to choose your image. So you'll just come to Google and type in whatever you're looking for. I just typed in frozen, and then I went to images. After that, I suggest you come way up here to where it says tools and click on that, because that's going to give you some other options of things you can do. And you'll want to go to size and large. In addition to that, if you're going to make this a print then cut, you can take any kind of image you want. But if you're going to try to make it into an SVG, or you're going to try to take out the little colored pieces and cut them out of vinyl, I suggest you also come to type and say clip art. Okay, so you're going to get a large clip art. The next thing I suggest you do, especially if you're making it into an SVG, doesn't matter so much if it's a print and cut, but an SVG, try to get one that doesn't have any shadowing. So this one looks like a perfect one right here. And I'm going to right click on him and say save image as, and I'll just name his Olaf for video. And save. All right, next thing I'll do is I'll open up Cricut Design Space, and I've already got one here, but notice he's got a lot of shading. I can show you what to do with him for the people that had questions about where in the world or how do I change him into a cut file only. Suppose, for example, you want to make a table topper and you just want to have some white cardstock behind the print and cut one so that it will be nice and sturdy and solid. Same thing for a birthday cake, a cake topper. Maybe that's what I already said. Table topper, cake topper. I don't know. Anyway, let's see. I could just use this one for right now. So I brought him in, and if I want to change him to simply not a print then cut, look what it says over here. Now notice there's that little triangle there that's warning us that that's too big. Our Cricut can't cut one that big. So I could make him smaller size, and now that's gone away. So this would fit as a print then cut. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate him. Just in case I make a mistake, I'll say duplicate. And let's open up those questions that I had shown before. And let's see what we have here. It says, Susanna M. said, I wish this worked for me, but my canvas doesn't even give me that option. And that was the option in the earlier versions, where right over here, it allowed you to change it from a print then cut to a cut file. So now what do we have to do? We just have to come right up here to where it says operation and change that from print then cut, whoops, click on this part to cut basic. And notice that is going to change him into a solid outline. There's no longer going to be any printed stuff. It's just going to cut around the edge of him, and that's all. However, there is one thing that's weird about him, and let's get rid of this guy for a minute. And I'll show you what it is. Look at these two little lines right here, or three maybe, 2 or 3. Those are also going to cut out. Well, how can we get rid of those so they don't cut out? Well, that's easy. Just click on him, and I can come down here to where it says contour. And notice there are 3 things in this area over here that could be contoured out. So these are all the 3 things that are going to cut. I'm going to click off this and off of this. Now the only things that's going to cut is my little Olaf guy, and that's what I want. So I can X this out, and then you'll notice those are gone. So if we go to make it, it just shows exactly what's going to cut out. And remember, I always like to show you too, by changing the canvas color, what else is going to happen. So as you can see, it's just going to cut smack dab up around him. Well, let's change that canvas color back to white. Let's imagine we want to put an offset on him. So we would come up here to offset. Where is it? There it is. Click on that, and Wait for a moment for it to put the offset around. Now that's kind of large. Maybe you like it that size. Let's pretend we like it that size because I'm going to show you something else you can do. So we'll say apply. And notice it's going to be black. But right here there's going to be a hole cut out. Right here that's going to cut out. And I don't really think that's necessary. So I'm going to do two things. I'm going to change that offset color to white by coming up here and changing it to white. And then I'm also going to move him off of here for a moment. And I'm going to click on this and I'm going to contour out these two cut pieces. Again, how do I contour? Just come right down here to where it says contour on the lower right hand corner. Click on that. It shows the parts that are being cut. I don't want this to cut, so I'll click on it. And I don't want this to cut, so I'll click on that. Okay, so if I just wanted to print the cut the offset, I could remove this now and delete it. And I could just go ahead and make this. So there's this piece which would cut out by itself and this piece as well if I wanted to. Chances are I just want this. So let's cancel this and go back for a second. So let's pretend we don't want them to be offset. Let's see if we're answering the questions that have been asked. Whoopsie. So I believe I showed Susanna where that option was. Let's see. Trinity says, how do I get the little printer symbol to show out when I'm trying to change a file on Cricut from print then cut to just cut? So again, it's the same thing that we had before. So let's go to new, replace, upload. I'll upload this guy, add him to my canvas. Here he is. And if I don't want it to be a print then cut, as it says right here, I simply want it to be a cut. All I do is come over here to where it says print then cut, click on this drop down arrow, and then just say cut basic. And there it is. It's going to cut just like that again. And again, I'd want to contour out these pieces because they're going to cut and I don't need them to. All right, let's see what other question that we have. I don't have a printer next to the side like I do. Yeah, because that's my older version. So you see where it is now. And Christina says, how do you cut out each individual color? Okay, let's see. I'm going to change this. Wait a minute, cancel that. I'm going to go ahead and get a new one and don't save, so replace. And I want to get a new image because I don't like that one because it had shading, remember? So I'm going to upload that other one that I believe I downloaded. Yep, Olaf for video. Click on that. There he is. I'll say complex and continue. And all of this around here, I can click on it to make sure that it's transparent. Say apply. Okay, that's just weird. Something's weird about this one. Let's try that again. Upload an image, browse, this, open, complex, continue, and aha! Since Cricut Design Space has changed a bit since last I've used it, I forgot about a button. So look over here on the left hand side, I have the select button selected. And when I click on that, and I click over here, notice it doesn't really get all this very well, right? And if we go to preview the cut image, oh my gosh, it's going to cut out all those little squares. So let's undo that by clicking right here. And here's the button that doesn't show up right now that I'm used to seeing. If you scroll down a little further, it says more options. Okay, and then you've got to scroll down again, at least the way my screen is set up, I have to. Notice the color tolerance is 16. I'm going to go ahead and change it to 33. I'm just choosing that willy-nilly and I'm going to see if it works. So now with the color tolerance increased, I'm going to click over here with that select tool and voila, it removes all of that. Let's preview the cut image. Perfect. That's exactly what we want. So we can apply and continue. And we'll take him in the print then cut. Let's see, is that what we want to do? Let's try it. And I'm going to add them to the canvas. All right, so let's get rid of this other guy. We don't want this guy anymore. And now we have this guy. All right, so I'm going to change him to a cut file. Okay, if you're not at all interested in Silhouette Business Edition, using that for your Cricut machine, you can stop now, because I'm not going to go through how to try to change something to an SVG in Cricut Design Space, because in my opinion, it's way too hard, and that's why I purchased for a one-time fee Silhouette Business Edition. You have to have the Business Edition to be able to save things for your Cricut, but this is what you can save if you look right up here. This is what I created in Silhouette Business Edition. These could be cut out of vinyl or cardstock, whatever. And so let's go to Silhouette Business Edition, and I'll show you how easy it is to do it. I'll actually show you how to do this in the free version, and you can download that and play with it for free. And then if you decide you'd like to get the full version, please use my link down below, because I get a tiny commission, and you can use it and make things for your Silhouette machine like that. So let's go to Silhouette now. So here's the little guy that we're going to do. I've already done this, guys. I'm going to get rid of him for now. This is what we brought in from when we did our search for Olaf on YouTube, or not on YouTube, on Google. Okay, so the first thing you have to do to save this as an SVG is to come way over. Let me go back. Wait a minute. I'm going to go back to Help, and I'm going to say View in Standard Edition. So that's why I want to show you how you can practice this in the free version, or go along with me on one of these and see if it's something you like. And if not, you can uninstall the program. This part of the program is free. So the first thing you would do is come over here to the right hand side and click on this little thing that looks to me like a piece of toast. It's the trace panel. Click on that to trace, and say select the trace area. So we're going to trace him, and believe it or not, this one we're starting with is a little harder than most, but it's easy still. So notice right now that it's traced in really, really well, and all of that stuff that's traced in yellow, that you can see in yellow, it's going to eventually be black. However, if you'll remember Olaf, he has brown arms and brown up here, right? So we're going to go ahead and change the threshold of this. Now I'm going to scroll in by this little thing up here that looks like a bug, like that, so you can watch this thing. And when I change the threshold over here on the right hand side, make it go down, you're going to start noticing something. So there's that brown color that we want. And what you need to be cognizant or aware of is that the yellow line has no breaks in it. If it has broken spots in it, and I'll show you that in a minute, it's going to be hard for you to fix this, and you'll need to have a little bit more experience. So if I was to change the threshold and go down more to maybe there, you can see where there's starting to be holes in this yellow outline. That won't work easily for you. So you need to change the threshold back up so that everywhere around Olaf there's a solid yellow line. So we can even go down through here and just double check if everything even his arms look terrific. That looks really, really good. So I can scroll back out by clicking this button and simply click on the word trace. Okay, so now we can remove this background and just leave this here if we want to, so we can use it to know what we're trying to do. And I'll scroll out just a tiny little bit more. There we go. So the first thing that I do, and I teach this in all of my classes, and if you're really interested in learning Silhouette Business Edition in depth, I have like classes on my website, PattyAnnesPlace.blog. If you go to the classes, you'll see a whole bunch of beginner classes for this software. I also have a Patreon class. But anyway, if I click on the outermost, click on the outermost edge, notice how that puts a box around everything. That's what I want. If I don't get a box around everything, but simply get a box or get these little dots, that's not what we want. So click outside till you get the box around everything, and then just come up here to the upper left-hand corner, because we're going to change this color to something we're probably not going to use in Olaf, but something you'll be able to see. So I'm going to change it to this pale green color. Okay, And that's going to allow me to do the next step, which is important and easy. All you're going to do, and you can actually write these steps down. There's like 3 or 4. That's all you have to remember. You're going to come up here to Object, release the compound path. And if you'll notice, what that did was put little boxes around everything that makes up Olaf. Okay, so that means every one of these little boxes, I can change the color of every one of them. For example, if I wanted to change his teeth and make them purple, I could do that right now, right? Of course, I don't want them to be purple. I'd rather have them be white. So I'm going to change it back to white. Okay. So then I'm just going to go through here and start changing colors of things that I know are certain colors. For example, if remember the sticks or whatever those are that make up his head, those were brown. Remember the inside part? So I'm going to click on that, hold down my Shift key, and click on the next inner brown part. Come up here to where it shows the green swatch and change it to brown. Okay, that didn't get this one, so I'll click on this one and also change it to brown. Okay, perfect. Let's scroll down here. Okay, we know his nose is going to be orange. So we click on it to select the nose and come up here and change it to orange. And let's scroll out a little bit because we know if we look at him, he's all white, right? He's snow. So we can click on the things that we know are white, hold down your Shift key and grab more than one at a time. Holding down my Shift key while I'm doing all this, I'm not sure if I've selected it all, but we'll see. I'll come up here to the color swatch area and change it to white. Okay, so I missed something, right? His leg here. So I'll click on it to select it and come up here and change it to white. Perfect. All right. Oh, the whites of his eyes. Let's click on this one. And we can do these one at a time if you'd like. Click it to white and change this one. Change it to white. Okay, looking really good. Oh, I've got to change his arms to brown. So I'm going to click here on the inside of his arm. Now if I accidentally don't click on the inside but get the outside and I change it to brown. Okay, notice that's not what I want because I want the inside of his arm. Oh, it did work. I want the inside of his arm to be brown and it worked. So I'll do this one too. Inside of his arm, brown. All right. So let's see. What we want to do now is we want to change, I guess, his mouth color. We can change that to a gray, which I know is what he has over there. And there's so many tips I could show you guys about using this software, but this is just a simple one just to show you in case you're interested in getting this to use for your Cricut machine. So now that I've done all of that, what I can do is, you remember in the very beginning when we've got that whole big box around it and we changed it to a color we knew we weren't going to use? Now we're going to change it to black. So I'm going to click around out here. Oops, I didn't get the big box. Look at that. Try again. Aha, I got the big box. And now, if you look up here, it's green. I'm going to change it from green to black. Green to black. And notice what that did. It put black outlines around most of the stuff that we need. Okay, I can also come right here to the line color, this little box, and change it to black as well. There we go. All right, so we still have a little bit more work to do, and that is this. I'm going to scroll into his eye, and I'm going to click on the outermost part of his eye, hold down my Shift key, click on the thing that's right behind that outermost color. And what is it? White, right? So I'm holding down my Shift key, clicking on both of those. Then you'll come way over here to the panel on the right and click on the Modify panel and simply click Subtract. What did that do? Well, I'll show you. We don't need this green piece anymore, or this green piece. But check this out. Look what it did. It cut holes out of the white piece to let the black that's behind it show out. And that's exactly what we want. So let's try that on this part of the carrot, because we want the outline of the carrot to be black. And the way that we can do that is either cutting little teeny weeny pieces of black, or cut a hole in the white that's behind it that allows the black layer behind it to show through. So I've clicked on the green, hold down my Shift key, click on the white, and come over to the Modify panel again and say Subtract. Look at that. Look at this green piece. We don't want that. Click on it. What's directly behind the green piece? The orange. Hold down my shift key, select the orange, subtract. Okay, what did that do? It cut a hole right out of that orange piece. Notice there's one more piece here. I could cut that out of black vinyl if I want to and try to put it on, but why not let that piece be cut right out of the orange vinyl or the orange cardstock by clicking on that, hold down the shift, cutting out what's directly behind it, and saying subtract. Okay, let's see if we have anything else down here to do. Let me scroll out like this. Ah, yeah. We have these rocks to do. So I'm going to click on that. What's directly behind that color that we want to cut out? Right click, hold down my shift key, click on the white because that's directly behind it. Subtract. What did that do? Cut the hole right out of that white. Again, I can do it to this one. Shift, what's behind it? The white. And subtract. This one, shift, white, subtract. And yes, you're thinking, can I do several at once? Well, you could, but since this is very beginner, I'm just doing one at a time. Here's another line. We could cut this out of black vinyl and glue that line right up there. But why not just let it be cut out of the white vinyl? By clicking on this, hold down the shift, click what's behind, and subtract. Okay, we do have something really weird right here. We don't want green vinyl here. And what I could do is I could just make it white, but if I wanted that to cut out so that there's nothing behind it, I would click on the green, and what's directly behind the green? The black. So I could hold down my shift, click the black, subtract, and now there's nothing behind it. So let's see, let's scroll out. We have one more thing to do, and it's the eyeball right here. So I'm going to scroll in. Green. What's directly behind it? The white. Subtract. Green. What's directly behind that green? This white. Subtract. And there he is, just like that. So look how perfect he looks. So I'm going to grab him all together and group, right click and say group so I can move him off and show you. Look how beautiful that is. But I'm going to put him back on my mat and ungroup him by right clicking, because what I want to do is I want to group the same colors together. So when you take it over to Cricut Design Space, when you look at the layers panel, all the whites will be together, all the black, the brown. So how do we do that? Easy. Come up here to this little icon that looks like a painter's palette. Notice it says select by color. I'm going to click on that. And usually when you click on that, it opens up like this. And it says select by line color. That's not what we want. We want to select by fill. So there's some green left in here, and I remember seeing it now. I can just totally ignore that green or find that green and change it to black or whatever it needs to be. So let's see, there must be some green pieces up here. And I know there's some right down here that I can delete. So let me scroll in so you can see better. All right, see those little pieces right there? That's a green one. I can delete that and delete that, just hitting delete on my keyboard. And here's a green piece I can delete and delete. And this looked like there was something up here that it was showing me. Not exactly sure where it was, because green is still showing up here. If I click on it, it will point it out, and there it is right there. So I'll click on that little tiny piece and delete. So now there's no longer any green. Perfect. So we can scroll back out now, and I'll click on the brown, and I'm going to right click and say group, or for me it's easier to hit my control key and say group. Okay, so the black should all just be one piece. I'll try it. Control G. You hear that noise my computer's making? That means there's only one black piece. It can't group anything. Let's try the white. It should not make that noise this time. I'm going to say Control G for group. And now all the white pieces are grouped together. Check that out. Now we know there's just one orange piece, so we don't need to group that. And that should be it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and grab all this together. Maybe I'll group it, and I'm going to take this. Oh, I want to do one more thing. I want to change the line color. Wait, let's see. Ungroup. Make sure the line color of everything is black or transparent. Okay. And then I'm going to group it all together. And while this is selected, I'm going to go to File, Save Selection to Hard Drive. And for my Cricut machine, I need to save it as an SVG. Notice I can only save it as silhouette files or GSP. Won't work for your Cricut? No way, no how. That's why you need the business edition. So, and it's a one-time fee. I think it's $99. You never have to pay for it again. It's yours to keep forever and ever. I'll have a link for you for it down below. But anyway, like I said, play with this and see if you like it. So what I need to do now is I'm going to come up to Help, and I'm going to change. Remember, I changed mine to View in Standard Edition, which is the free edition. I'm going to say Business Edition now because that's what you'll have to save this for your Cricut. So I'm going to save it, change this to the Business Edition. Now check this out. I can go to File, Save Selection, because I don't want to save both of these things. I just want to save what's selected. Save Selection to my hard drive, and I'll name it Olaf for Cricut Tutorial. Okay, now notice right here it says Silhouette Studio. We don't want to save it as that, but now we can do a drop down, and SVG is available, so click on that. And it's Olaf for Cricut Tutorial, and I'll say save. And now let's go over to Cricut and see what we get. All right, so this is the one I showed you originally. So let's go to New and Replace. And I'm going to upload the image that I just made. Browse. Olaf for Cricut Tutorial. It's right here. Olaf for Cricut Tutorial. And open. And there he is. It's a cut image. Upload. Add it to the canvas. And how easy is this, you guys? Now, I'm going to show you something though. If you go to Make It, there's the gray for his mouth. There's all the pieces that make up his body and his head. Maybe you don't want them like that. If you're doing vinyl, maybe you want them all put together so that when you take the vinyl off, it's ready just like that. So let's cancel this. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab all these white pieces, all the white, and I'm going to say attach. Okay, something very weird has happened here. It should not happen like this, and I can tell you why. It's because, remember, I grouped my object when I first brought it in. This thing, the whole thing is still grouped. So if yours turns black like that when you say attach, it's because it's grouped and it needs to be ungrouped. So again, I could go through here and one by one with the Shift key held down, collect all these white pieces, or I could just go like that because all those white pieces are under this area right here, and then I could say attach. So now the white pieces are all attached and they'll stay together. And you'll recall, whoopsie, that the black piece was just one piece by itself. Okay, let's see. These look, now let's look and see what we get. If we say Make It, so we have his mouth, we have the white pieces all stay together, the black piece is one piece, the carrot nose is one, but the sticks are messed up. You may want to leave them like this because they'll take up less vinyl, but if you want them to be the other way where they'll fit perfectly, we can cancel this, and let's just undo so we can go back to the way they were. Let me make sure I still have this attached. And then I would get the brown, and again, one by one, grab just these brown guys, or click right here because that is the heading for the brown pieces. And with them all selected, then I can say attach, and they'll stay exactly where they need to be. So there's the mouth, his body, the backing onto which we're going to build everything, and so that it'll show through nice. And then there's the little sticks for his hair or whatever, and his arms. So that's how easy it is to use Silhouette for Cricut Design Space if you're wanting to make SVGs. But you don't need to have it. It's just something that I like playing with, especially when I want to create my own SVGs. So thanks so much for joining me. Hey, if you have any questions that make you go like this and scratch your head, especially if they have to do with my old tutorials where maybe some of the icons have changed, let me know. Drop me a comment down below or join our Facebook group and tell me there. I'd love to make a tutorial for you, and you and I can learn together the new icons. So again, thanks for joining me. Check out my links down below, and I'll see you again soon. And I've got something really cool that I just discovered that we can do with Design Space that I'm going to show you about next time. So thanks again. Bye.